Ready to dive into some Romanian literature.
Sure, always up for a challenge.
You've brought us Moara, noroc.
The Mill of Good Luck.
Yeah, by Ioan Slavici. Now, from your notes, I see you've already picked up on the fact that it's a novella.
It is.
So we can expect a punchy, focused story.
Absolutely. Slavici packs a lot into a relatively short space.
What we're going to do today is unpack those big themes
Okay.
and characters that make this work so compelling, even over a century later.
What I find remarkable is just how this novella, published back in 1881, became a cornerstone of Romanian realism.
Yeah.
It's a testament to how Slavici tapped into something universal, even within a specific time, a specific place.
And you know me, I'm always drawn to a good title.
Right.
The Mill of Good Luck.
It's evocative, isn't it?
Sounds promising, right?
It does.
But as you noted, there's a delicious irony there. It's like that old saying, be careful what you wish for.
Oh, absolutely.
Given how the mill impacts Guille's life.
It's that duality, I think, that makes the setting so powerful.
Yeah.
You highlighted the mill's isolation in your notes, and it's striking how Slavici uses this to build tension.
Yeah.
Almost as if the wilderness itself is closing in on Guille, mirroring his growing sense of unease.
Which brings us to Guille himself. You've got to admit he's a fascinating character study.
Oh, he's complex.
I mean, he starts off as a hardworking family man, striving for a better life. Who can't relate to that? But the paths he chooses, that's where things get really interesting.
And this is where I think understanding the context of 19th century Romania is so crucial.
Okay.
Guille is a man of his time. He's driven by this desire for a better life.
Yeah.
And this desire leads him to the mill, this isolated spot in Transylvania.
Right.
Remember, this was a period of immense societal shifts across Europe. You have this pull of modernity clashing with traditional ways of life.
Okay, so we've got this isolated setting.
Yes.
We've got this relatable yet flawed protagonist and a title dripping with irony. But what really struck me, and you noted this too, is how Slavici tells this story. He doesn't just tell us what happens. He pulls us into the characters' minds.
Exactly. That's the beauty of his use of an objective, omniscient narrator.
Right.
It's as if we have this privileged access to Guille's internal struggle, his ambitions, his anxieties, those moments of moral questioning that he might not even admit to himself.
It's like we're right there with him, feeling the weight of his choices.
Exactly.
And didn't you say Slavici uses some really clever narrative techniques to heighten this effect?
He does.
I felt this building tension while reading, but couldn't quite put my finger on how he did it.
You're picking up on the nuance, which is great.
Yeah, you know.
Slavici masterfully employs foreshadowing, dropping these subtle hints about the events to come. There are moments where the descriptions become incredibly vivid, almost suffocating.
Yeah.
Which mirrors the psychological state of our characters.
Yeah.
And even his sentence structure, the way he builds suspense. It's subtle, but incredibly effective.
Wow.
And speaking of tension,
Yeah.
it's impossible to ignore the conflict
Right.
brewing at the heart of Moara noroc.
Right. It's like Slavici layered different types of conflict on top of each other, each one adding to the story's intensity.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Thanks.
On one hand, you have the very direct, almost primal conflict
Right.
between Guille and Lisa Samadol.
Yeah.
Lika, with his menacing presence and connection to the criminal underworld, disrupts everything Guille is trying to build.
The dynamic is electric. It's like a game of cat and mouse.
It is.
But with much higher stakes.
Oh, absolutely.
In your notes, you mentioned how Lika embodies the corrupting influence of power.
Yes.
And I couldn't agree more.
He's a powerful representation, I think, of the dark side of ambition.
Yeah.
While Guille is initially driven by a desire for a better life for his family,
Right.
Lika represents the allure of easy wealth and power.
Oh, okay.
The kind that comes with a hefty moral price tag.
And that's where Guille's internal conflict comes into play.
Exactly.
He's torn between this desire for a better life and the increasingly shady dealings he gets caught up in.
Precisely. And we see him grappling with his conscience,
Yeah.
questioning his own choices.
Right.
It's that classic internal struggle between who we want to be and the compromises we sometimes make along the way.
It's a struggle that feels incredibly relatable even today.
It does, doesn't it?
And what about Anna?
Right.
In your notes, you pointed out how she represents traditional values.
Yes.
A stark contrast to what Guille gets pulled into.
Absolutely. Anna serves as a constant reminder of what Guille stands to lose.
Okay.
She's the anchor to his old life, a life of honesty and hard work.
It's heartbreaking to see how his choices impact her.
It is.
She's forced to confront not just the consequences of his actions, but also the unsettling realization that the man she loves is changing.
Right. It's a subtle dance, I think, between their two narratives, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Guy's ambition pulling him towards the darkness.
Right.
And Anna's steadfastness representing the life he's leaving behind.
It makes you wonder if anyone truly escapes unscathed
Right.
when we chase after, these grand ambitions.
That's right.
In a way, their struggles represent a microcosm of the larger anxieties present in 19th century Romania.
Yes.
You mentioned in your notes this clash between tradition and modernity, and Slavici doesn't shy away from exploring that tension.
Exactly. Moara cu noroc is more than just a gripping story.
Yeah.
It's a social commentary.
Right.
Slavici holds up a mirror to those turbulent times, forcing readers to confront the consequences of rapid change.
Yeah.
Particularly the allure of easy wealth.
It's fascinating how a book written over a century ago can still resonate so strongly.
It really is.
I mean, we might not be dealing with remote mills and outlaw gangs,
right.
but those themes, the allure of shortcuts,
Yeah.
the tension between our values and desires, those are timeless.
They are, and it's that timelessness that elevates Moara cu noroc beyond a simple morality tale. It's a story about the human condition.
Yeah.
About the choices we make when faced with temptation, and the unintended consequences that ripple outward.
It certainly makes you think about what you would do in Guy's shoes.
Yeah.
How far would any of us go to secure a better life for ourselves and our families? Where do we draw the line?
That, my friend, is the question Slavici leaves us wrestling with.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't offer easy answers or tidy resolutions.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's the most powerful takeaway of all.
It's that lingering sense of unease, that echo of the mill's presence long after we've finished the book, that makes Moara cu noroc such a compelling read.
It stays with you.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's a story that stays with you, prompting you to examine your own relationship with ambition, morality, and the choices we make in the face of alluring darkness.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive into The Mill of Good Luck.
This novella certainly gave us a lot to think about.
It did indeed. Until next time.